Yeah, I would advise, the youth to tap into an OG and get away from that IG. Tap into some sound wisdom from those who, live longer than you, made mistakes, you know what I mean, that can really give you some sound wisdom and advice to not go and fall off a cliff that they know to be a cliff that they have fell off or witnessed. One of the things that inspired me when I visited Larry Hoover down here in the penitentiary, a man that had done, 27 years at the time. And I was going through a situation of being attacked by the feds at the time. And to hear that brother, tell me, don't stop swinging at him, it's with me all the way to this day. Don't stop swinging, which simply means don't quit. Keep fighting. The reason I put the art and science book out myself is because I didn't like the opportunities, the proposals that was being given to me by the publishers. After I had opportunity to check the laws of the land where the book publishing business was concerned, I found out that they were trying to treat me like they tried to treat me when I first came into the music industry, which take the buck of my profit and give me some peanuts. And, I was surprised to see that portrait all over again because, I felt as if I had somewhat of a track record that should have been respected. The book publishing company quickly let me be known that, this is the law of the land where we're concerned. You can have 20 or 25% if you're going to go through our systems. If not, then you're on your own. And of course, I chose to go on my own, which caused a lot of people to not order books, which caused a lot of doors to, not embrace me properly. But, of course, I've done this before, you know what I mean? I blazed a trail where this independent record label thing was concerned. So, I was right at home, and I went straight to work. And some of the first things I done was build a demand, which caused all of those doors to start opening, from the publishers calling me back, wanting to give me a better deal, to Barnes and Noble, everybody putting more respect on the situation. The Art and Science of Respect book is going to be a trailblazer for those that's coming behind me to feel better about putting out a book. You know what I mean? I definitely believe in embracing, possibilities that make sense. So, and most of all, I think what this trailblazing event is going to do is encourage others to release their books. You know what I mean? I think it's going to do the same thing it done for, the Cash Money, the Master P's, the Tony Drapers, all the other different people that's watching that want to do a book, or maybe may be encouraged to do a book from my book to know that they can do it. Well, one of the next things I feel that's going to follow this book is a movie. So I'm looking forward to a movie following the Art and Science of Respect. The Art and Science of Respect is a book that is going to empower people, empower their minds. And, what I would like to see above and beyond one reading this book is to exercise a lot of the ingredients that I put in the book such as, creating a movement over a moment. I think that to really make a change begins with, the people such as myself. I give an example beginning with me. In my community, I wrap action around my words. You know what I mean? I wasn't a person that became successful and abandoned where I was from. And I think, when you get like-minded people together, you know what I mean, with that type of mindset, we would make an impact on our own more so than any outside force. I don't have a problem with someone that's not from our culture exercising their entrepreneurship, where our culture is concerned. But I do have a problem when they don't give back to our culture. And if anything, make one be a culture vulture, then that's how you become a vulture, when it's just all about take and not giving back. If I could talk to the younger me, the younger version of me, I would tell him to go and purchase The Art and Science of Respect. You know what I mean? Go buy that book and study it from the front page to the last page, because if I had a piece of literature like that when I first started, I would have been so, much further ahead of the game, and the obstacles and the mistakes that I had to make, that I wouldn't, it wouldn't exist reading a book like The Art and Science of Respect. So the motivation for The Art and Science of Respect is my people coming to me as I travel around the world, asking me when, what, how did you accomplish what you accomplished? And I couldn't think of a better way to speak to the mass than in the book. When I was growing up, I did not like to read. You know what I mean? And that's why, I made different statements. A lot of people say if you want to hide something from a nigga, put it in a book. Once upon a time, that was true where I was concerned. But, when you know better, you're supposed to do better. And my eyes was, awakened along my journey, and I realized the importance of it. And, that's why I tell everybody I read this book, Think and Grow Rich, and, it changed my whole perspective where business was concerned. Yeah, I would advise, the youth to tap into an OG and get away from that IG. Tap into some sound wisdom from those who, live longer than you, made mistakes, what I mean, that can really give you some sound wisdom and advice to not go and fall off a cliff that they know to be a cliff that they have fell off or witnessed, someone fall off. So it's important to not ignore the OGs or your mother, your grandmother, those that love you, that's telling you the truth. One of the things that inspired me when I visited Larry Hoover down here in the penitentiary, a man that had done, 27 years at the time. And I was going through a situation of being attacked by the feds at the time. And to hear that brother, tell me, don't stop swinging at him. Those words, don't stop swinging at him, like fuel my whole movement to the extent where, it's with me all the way to this day. Don't stop swinging, which simply means don't quit, keep fighting. Larry Hoover, what makes him special to me, the leader of the Gangster Disciples, is his thinking ability. The man has a brilliant mind, one of the most brilliant minds I ever interacted with. A lot of people may not have the ability to tap into brilliance because they elevators short circuit to a certain extent. But, the short period of time that I had with, being able to brainstorm with the brother had a lifelong impact on me where his intelligence was concerned. And I can only imagine, him having the opportunity to diversify or make that transition from the streets to corporate America in any capacity, how impactful it would be. I think one of the biggest misconceptions of Larry Hoover is, he's limited to violence. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people try to wrap his whole thinking ability, his whole movement, his whole everything around violence. And that's a major understatement where that man is concerned. Yeah, I would say the same thing. They try to put me in a package around fear. You know what I mean? Fear the man, trust. Can't trust him. All of those things, that's not me. You know what I mean? what I would like them to wrap everything around is respect, and I get along with everybody. Well, I can't credit Harry O for no lessons, you know what I mean, business lessons or whatnot that he's given me, knowing what has kind of taken place where we concerned. But I will give a brother this much credit, you know what I mean. He was a hustler when he was free. So, you know, to see a man hustle like he did deserves respect. Yo, 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 this Jay Prince coming at you live and in living color with the art and science of respect. I want you to check out 24/7 HH.